If I told you Tesla's robotaxi fleet is already scaling in California, not in some far-off future, but right now, would you believe me? Because the numbers coming out of the Bay Area are not small. We're talking about a ride-hailing operation that reportedly jumped from a couple dozen cars to over 1,000 vehicles registered for service. And on X, TikTok, and every Tesla forum you can imagine, people are posting screenshots, wait times, and I just wrote it stories like the robotaxi era is already here. But here's the twist. There's one huge problem hiding in plain sight. A problem so big, it can turn Robotaxi Scaling into just another regular taxi fleet with a Tesla badge. So what's actually happening in California? How is Tesla scaling this fast? And what is the one problem that could freeze the whole robotaxi dream before it becomes truly driverless? All will be revealed right now. But first, picture this. You're in the Bay Area. It's late. You open an app. You request a ride. And a Tesla shows up. Quiet. Clean. No gas smell. No awkward small talk. It feels like the future. And in one important way, it is. All right, welcome back. But first, stop scrolling and do this right now. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Because the robotaxi race is moving fast, and you want to be early, not confused. Okay, here we go. Number 1. Tesla isn't just teasing robotaxis anymore. They're building the machine. Here's what that means. In 2025, Tesla rolled out a ride-hailing service in the San Francisco Bay Area, and since then, reporting says Tesla has registered roughly 1,655 vehicles and hundreds of drivers for the California operation, up from a tiny launch fleet earlier in the year. And the craziest part? Those numbers aren't concept art. They're the boring, unglamorous stuff that actually scales. Vehicles, drivers, dispatch, coverage zones, and support. Tesla is doing the hard part first, building the rails. Because robotaxis aren't just a software feature. Robotaxis are an operating system for a city. And to scale a city service, you need 3 things. 1. Supply, cars that can be dispatched reliably. 2. Demand, people actually requesting rides. 3. Operations, the invisible layer that keeps rides from turning into chaos. And that demand piece? It's real. Users have been posting that wait times can spike, sometimes a long time during peak hours, which is exactly what happens when demand is outpacing supply. That's not a no one cares problem. That's a people are already trying to use it problem. Now, if you're a Tesla fan, this is where you start celebrating, because it looks like the robotaxi network is coming alive. But now we need to talk about California. Number 2. California is the hardest place on Earth to launch robotaxis, and that's why this story is so important. Because California doesn't just ask, can your car drive itself? California asks, can your company legally carry passengers? And can you legally charge money? And are you meeting the safety and reporting requirements? In other words, the tech is one battle, the permission is another. And in California, permission is everything. That's why you keep hearing names like Waymo and Zoox in the same breath. Waymo has already been operating driverless rides in parts of the Bay Area for a while now, and it's become the benchmark everyone compares to. So Tesla scaling in California is either A. Proof. Tesla has found a shortcut. Or B. Proof Tesla is running a different kind of service that looks like robotaxi but isn't allowed to be robotaxi yet. And that brings us to the turning point. Number 3. The one huge problem. California doesn't care what you call it. California cares what it is. Here's the problem, in one sentence. In California, robotaxi isn't a vibe. It's a legal category. And Tesla's Bay Area service, as described publicly, is not currently operating as a fully driverless autonomous passenger service. It's operating under permit structures that still require humans. Meaning, Tesla can scale the app. Tesla can scale the fleet. Tesla can scale the coverage zone. But if a human driver is still required behind the wheel, the robotaxi economics do not explode. They collapse. Because the entire robotaxi dream is built on one thing: no driver. Remove the driver and ride-hailing becomes cheaper, more available, and scalable in a way Uber and Lyft simply can't match. But if California rules force Tesla to keep a human driver at the wheel, then Tesla isn't scaling robotaxis. Tesla is scaling a chauffeur network. That's the huge problem. And it gets even more serious once you understand the permit maze. Number 4. The permit maze. DMV versus CPUC. Let's make this simple. California has 2 giant gatekeepers for robotaxis. Gatekeeper number 1, the DMV. They regulate autonomous vehicle testing and deployment. Basically, can this vehicle legally operate as an autonomous vehicle on public roads? Gatekeeper number 2, the CPUC. They regulate passenger transportation services. Basically, can you carry passengers and can you charge money for it? So to run a true robotaxi business, you don't just need autonomy, you need business permission. Now here's the key detail. Tesla did get a CPUC permit called a Transportation Charter Party Carrier Permit, a TCP. A TCP basically lets a company operate prearranged transportation using company-owned vehicles and company-employed drivers. That's real, but it is not the same thing as the CPUC's Autonomous Vehicle Passenger Service. Permits. The permits that cover drivered autonomous passenger service and driverless autonomous passenger service. And regulators have publicly clarified that Tesla has not been approved to offer autonomous passenger service to the public, paid or unpaid, with or without a driver. Read that again. Not allowed to transport the public in an autonomous vehicle as a passenger service. So what can Tesla do? Tesla can transport people in a non-autonomous vehicle, which of course has a driver. That's why the Bay Area service has been described as human-driven. And that leads to a brutally simple conclusion. Tesla can scale rides in California today, but they can't scale the robot part the way the internet thinks. Not yet. Now, to be fair, Tesla might be doing this on purpose. Number 5. Tesla's play may be build first, legalize later. Here's why some people think Tesla is being strategic. If Tesla runs a large human-driven ride service in California, Tesla gets real demand data, where people request rides, when and why, real operations learning, cancellations, support issues, routing problems, edge cases, real driver feedback, where the system struggles, where riders complain, what's confusing, and tons of driving data, especially if drivers use driver assist features, because that exposes the system to real city complexity. In other words, Tesla could be using California as the world's most intense training gym. And then once the tech matures and the permits align, Tesla flips the switch from drivered to driverless. That's the dream. But now we hit the second layer of the huge problem, because permits aren't just paperwork. Permits are trust. Number 6. California regulators are already watching Tesla closely. This matters, because California's DMV recently ruled that Tesla's marketing language around autopilot and full self-driving capability was misleading under state law. And when regulators are already saying, "We don't like how you describe this technology," it's harder to win the next level of approvals. Because an autonomous passenger service permit is not just a form you fill out. It's safety plans, it's reporting, it's incident handling, it's transparency, it's proving you can operate responsibly on the worst day, not the best day. And if you want to understand why California is so strict, look around the industry. Robotaxis have real wins, millions of rides, real transportation. But they also have moments where edge cases cause chaos. Even the leading services have faced weird scenarios, like major outages where vehicles can behave in ways that frustrate cities and trigger extra scrutiny. And California remembers. So Tesla's huge problem is not only that the driver is still required today, it's also that the road to removing the driver is long and heavily scrutinized and politically sensitive. Now, here's where we rehook you, because this part is important. If Tesla can't remove the driver in California, does this robotaxi scaling even matter? Yes, and here's why. Number 7. This scaling phase still changes the game, even before it's driverless. Because once people form a habit, habits are hard to break. If riders get used to opening the Tesla app, requesting a ride, and getting picked up in a clean EV, Tesla is building mindshare. And mindshare is the starting line for market share. Also, scaling the network now creates a pressure effect. It pressures competitors because Tesla is building a distribution channel. It pressures regulators because the public starts to expect the service. And it pressures Tesla internally to improve the tech faster because the service is longer theoretical. But the robotaxi endgame still depends on one question. Can Tesla get the approvals to operate autonomous passenger service in California and eventually remove the driver? And even if Tesla's tech is ready, the permits must be ready too. Which brings us to the final section. Number 8. What would have to happen next for true robotaxi in California? If Tesla wants to go from drivered ride service to real robotaxi, Tesla needs a chain of approvals that includes DMV approvals related to autonomous operation, testing, and/or deployment conditions, AND, CPUC approvals under the Autonomous Vehicle Passenger Service programs, including the rules for carrying passengers, pilot phases, and, if they want to charge, Fares, additional permissions. And historically, these steps do not move quickly. Waymo didn't get here overnight. This took years of pilots, safety cases, and incremental expansion. So when people online say, Tesla will flip the switch next month, that's not how California works. California doesn't move at Elon's speed. California moves at regulator speed. And that's the reality behind the hype. So here's the truth in plain language. Tesla's robotaxi fleet can scale in California today as a human-driven service. But the one huge problem, the problem that decides whether this becomes a trillion-dollar business or just a cool side project, is whether Tesla can legally remove the driver. Because until the driver disappears, it's not a robotaxi economy, it's a taxi economy. Now let's end with the question that matters most. Would you ride in a Tesla robotaxi in California if there's still a human driver? And do you think Tesla can convince California regulators to approve driverless passenger service faster than Waymo did? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We value your feedback and your time. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications because the next update in this story can change everything overnight. Thanks for watching and we'll see you soon. Until then, stay safe and have fun. Bye.